Yeah, it can be dangerous to just live like that too. And I'm talking from experience. I've done that where you just let everything in, let everything out. It doesn't even matter. And watch what happens in your life when you start doing that. When you don't put parameters up, when you don't put barriers up, when you don't put boundaries up with people or with things, watch what your life looks like. I mean, I've done that too, and it can be a dangerous thing. It can be unhealthy for you or your family or your friends if you're dragging them into whatever you're doing. We have to be willing to put up boundaries. We have to be willing to say, no, this is not good for me. This is not good for my friends. This is not good for my family. I am not going to do this. No matter how I may feel about it, if it's not good for the greater good, then maybe I shouldn't be doing it.
Welcome back to Relatable Wisdom, the podcast where everyday people share the quotes that shaped how they see life, offering you daily doses of perspective and peace in our chaotic world. Today's guest is Ana Murby, a mom of 5, writer and podcast host who's walked through some of the life's deepest valleys and emerged with a grace that's both hard-earned and genuine. She's someone who asks the tough questions, loves playing Fortnite with her kids, and isn't afraid to share the messy, beautiful truth of her journey. Let's step into Anna's world and hear the words that anchor her. Tell me your name and
Ana Murby.
okay, let's take it again. Tell me your name and a little introduction about who you are and what you do, and then your favorite quote.
All right. My name is Ana Murby. I'm a mother of 5. I have a podcast and I also write novels. My favorite quote is a verse from the Bible that was very important to me while I was going through my sobriety from my pornography addiction. And it's Proverbs 4:23, which is guard your heart above all else, for it determines the course of your life. And it's an awesome reminder that your heart can sometimes be deceived, and that's why you have to be prepared in all circumstances to really dive deep into something. You can't just jump into it because you feel in your heart that it's a good thing to do. It might not end up being a good thing in the end. You have to be willing to take a step back from the emotions of whatever you're feeling and try to dig deeper and see, is this really something I should do? Is this really someone I should be with? And it's just a very good, important reminder to us. I mean, whether you believe in the Bible or not, I feel like this is just a really good reminder for anybody that you need to check your motives. You need to check your heart and why you're doing what you're doing, because your heart can take you in places you probably never would have expected it to take you, whether that's good or bad.
Yeah, I really understood the idea of guarding your hearts and your mind when I watched the movie Inception. I don't know if you watched it by Christopher
Yeah,
Nolan.
it's been a while, but I've
Yeah.
seen it. Yeah.
So it's there's this meme they caught out from that um movie where they're like, how do I know it's going to work? You don't. If I was to do this, what is the guarantee that so there is no
Yeah.
guarantee, right? So
Yep.
the idea of the movie is they get to plant ideas into the dreams of people, into the mind of people, and it could be a good or a bad idea. So if they wanted someone to like you know do something terrible, instead of doing that thing terrible to the person, they'll plant the idea into their mind, and sooner or later, before you know, you realize that, oh, the person did this to themselves, and you're like, he did this stuff, the guy is responsible, not knowing that an idea has been planted into their mind. And when we look at all the things that happen in life, the good, the bad, the great things, and also the great evil too, what we notice is that they all start from the mind, an idea. I'm like, oh, I'm going to change the world. I'm going to create a cure for cancer, and then I start working towards it. Or I'm going to, a perfect example would be the Germans, the World War, where they started killing Jews.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's it started from the mind. When he got them to believe that these people they weren't worth living. They're not fit to live. Once that idea entered their mind and they believed it, guess what? They all started picking up arms and following the instructions.
Yeah.
Yeah, guard your heart without diligence, for it determines the course of your life.
Yeah. It's an important reminder. And yeah, the mind and the heart can be working together. They don't have to work separately. And I think some people think that, I have to follow my heart. And yes, I may be married, but I got to go after this person. There's something there. No, you don't have to. You made a commitment to
Yeah.
somebody. You're married to them. You don't have to do that. Use your mind and think, is this really what needs to be done? No, it's not. If you're, into drugs, you don't have to do those things just because you're feeling it. It's a feeling. Feelings are fleeting. For the example of, the addiction I had, which was pornography, I didn't have to look at those things. That's what I used to numb the pain and the negative feelings that I had. That's what I would use to, just like an alcoholic would use alcohol, or
Yeah.
someone who does drugs uses it for that too. But if I had guarded my heart like I should have been, then I wouldn't have needed those things. I could have taken a step back, went and processed in my brain and said, you know what? I don't have to do these things. I don't have to mask these feelings. These negative feelings are still feelings that I was given, and I need to figure out what I'm supposed to do with that. We're so quick to want to get rid of the negative, the uncomfortable, the bad things or feelings in our lives that we're willing to do almost anything we can to get rid of that, whether it's a temporary getting rid of or permanent. And it can have lasting terrible effects when we do that. So
Yeah. A word that's that's really important is guard. Right? Guard your heart. What would be a perfect example of guiding? What could we do to guide our heart, right?
yeah. Well, if you're a believer in Christ, reading your Bible is definitely a good way. Praying and asking God for help and guidance works. If you're not somebody who believes in Christ, I, in my personal opinion, would feel that it might be a little more difficult for you because you don't, especially if you don't have anything that you believe in. If you don't have a God to believe in, I feel like it would be a lot more difficult, because sometimes the world tells us there's nothing after you die, just makes you feel less than, like you don't matter. So why are you even here? And I think that can be a dangerous thing to teach people, because then they feel, well, what does it matter what I do? I'm not hurting anybody because we're all dust at the end of the day and we're just going to die, and then nothing else is there. I don't think anyone should live like that, because I don't believe it's right. As a Christian, I don't believe it's right. And then as a person, I just don't think that's a fair thing to say to anybody. It's wrong. I mean, you're here for a reason, whether you believe that or not. You are here for a reason. So to guard your heart, I would say turn to God, ask Him to give you your purpose. If you're married, whether you believe in God or not, if you're married, your purpose, the things you should be doing, is what is best for you and your family. If you need to find something to ground yourself in your family, and figure out, is what I'm thinking of doing, is that going to benefit my family, or is that not going to benefit my family? That's another way to guard your heart. Just if you're at work and you're, feeling like you don't have enough money, and you're feeling like you need to do something underhanded to get that money, think about it first and say, does this affect me in a way where I could go to jail? Is this going to affect my family if I have one? If it's just you, is this going to be something that's going to send me to jail? You have to take a step back, and you can't live in those feelings. You have to do some thinking in your brain and think, is this really something I should be doing? How is this going to affect me in the future? We can't just live in the now, even though that's all we're promised today. But at some point, we have to look a little ahead. Should we be allowed to have those days? Because if we were told we were never going to have those days, just think of how many things we'd be doing, because we'd be like, okay, well, I'm not going to have tomorrow, so there won't be consequences for what I do. So we're just going to go do anarchy or whatever. But if you don't have that guarantee, then you need to think with the possibility of you may have those days and what's going to happen if you do something today. Reminds me of a movie called Groundhog Day. I don't know if you've ever
Yeah,
heard of
I've
it or
watched it.
watched it. Yeah.
Kept living the
You
same
know,
day.
every single day he's living the same day. He does things differently. He does this, he does that, and at one point I started thinking about it because I'd watched that movie over and over, and I've seen different versions of that type of thing too. And then I think about it, they keep thinking it's just never going to end. I'm just going to keep doing the same thing. So they just amp up things they're doing. Maybe they're bad things or whatever, but they just amp it up. And I think about it, what if that cycle stopped and you do live the next day?
Yeah.
What did you do the day of that you may or may not regret? Like that's a sobering thought for anybody if you really took that step and said, you know what, maybe I shouldn't do this because what if tomorrow does come? So I
What
think that's a
if,
really
like,
good
right
way.
now I'm looking at it and I'm like, what makes you think that there is no, like, how do I explain this word now? We are never in a tomorrow. We're always in a today. So what if we're just living the same day again and again?
Mm-hmm.
Like you tell me, oh, tomorrow, okay, when tomorrow comes, what happens? It's just another day. It's just another today. So what if Groundhog Day is not just so fictional? It's actually what's happening in
Mm-hmm.
life. You're having different days given to you again and again, and you might have messed up yesterday, but now you have an opportunity to do something different, to another
Yeah.
chance, another more like a second chance, more not even second, multiple chances, right? To to to
Yeah.
to do
Yeah.
something, to choose. Okay, today I'm going to be kind. Today I'm going to be generous. Today I'm going to be a better version of myself. Even though
Yeah,
yesterday I totally blew
I
it.
love that. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. It's a fresh start.
Every
Each
day.
day that you have is a blessing, and it is a fresh start that if you feel like you did terrible the day before, you have a new clean slate. You can do something different. You can make amends for whatever you need to make amends for, and you can move forward. And that's another way to guard your heart, is to realize that you can't change the past.
Let's take a quick pause. If you're enjoying this conversation and want more thought-provoking ideas straight to your inbox, join the Relatable Wisdom email list. It's free, quick, and filled with bite-sized insights, inspiring quotes, and behind-the-scenes reflections from our guests. Just head to relatablewisdom.com/join. That is relatablewisdom.com/join, or tap the link in the show notes. And hey, subscribing to the podcast helps more than you think, and it's free. So if you haven't already, hit that follow button wherever you're listening. All right, let's get back to the conversation.
But you can work towards healing it if you need to. And yeah, that's a good reminder too.
Yeah. For me, I see the heart as like, the royalty of any kingdom, right? If you fight in war, and well, not just a royalty, let's say there's war in the United States. I don't know what country is fighting in the United States. Hypothetical, right? The thing the
Mm-hmm.
military would do above all things is to protect the president, the vice
Mm-hmm.
president. They would do anything, like any fly, anything that goes close to the president, they would roast that thing, kill on sight. They don't, like, it's not like, oh, no negotiation, right? Because they
Yeah.
understand, like, the importance of what it means, losing control of the president to the war or to whatever it might be. Because imagine, like, the president of the United States has been kidnapped.
Yeah.
Hypothetically, no, of course, this,
Yeah.
yeah, no, like, what would,
Yeah.
like, imagine that scenario, right?
Yeah. It would be crazy.
And day in, day
You'd
out, we allow our own heart to be kidnapped. We allow, because we,
yeah.
we 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 don't realize that every day it's a battle of who takes control of our hearts. Like, it's a battle of what
Mm-hmm.
comes into our heart. And guiding your heart is, like, the perfect example. I like the Bible because it uses words that are, descriptive, right? Words that you can
Mm-hmm.
easily understand, not just conceptual abstract words, right? You say guide your heart.
Yeah.
Let's look at it. Let's say there's a kingdom, like I say guide this gate. What does it mean? It means you monitor who goes in and who goes out. So if we were to guide the gates, we would monitor who goes in and who goes out, right? We'll screen them
Yeah.
and say, just like the bouncer at the door. I'm like, yeah, where's your ID? And you're like, I
Mm.
don't have ID. No, get out, and stuff like that. And when you see
Yeah.
people consume stuff, the thing they watch, the movies they watch, the books they read, they like, oh, there's no approach like, oh, I'm guiding my heart. It's just like anything that goes in, and I don't really care.
Yeah. Yeah, it can be dangerous to just live like that too. And I'm talking from experience. I've done that where you just let everything in, let everything out. It doesn't even matter, and watch what happens in your life when you start doing that. When you don't put parameters up, when you don't put barriers up, when you don't put boundaries up with people or with things, watch what your life looks like. I mean, I've done that too, and it can be a dangerous thing. It can be unhealthy for you or your family or your friends if you're dragging them into whatever you're doing. We have to be willing to put up boundaries. We have to be willing to say, no, this is not good for me. This is not good for my friends. This is not good for my family. I am not going to do this. No matter how I may feel about it, if it's not good for the greater good, then maybe I shouldn't be doing it. And that can be really hard because we as human beings tend to be more selfish and we want what we want, how we want it, and when we want it. And sometimes you can't get that because it's not really good for you. And that's why we need to guard our hearts and our minds to make sure that we're not searing our conscience, which is what I've heard before, which is just a fancy way of saying dulling your senses, getting to a point where you can watch anything on TV and you don't blink. It doesn't do anything to you. You can listen to all the terrible things and it doesn't do anything to you. If you walk on the street and you see someone getting hurt, you don't even care. You don't want to get to that point where you just don't have a conscience. You don't feel that desire that I need to help somebody, or you're just apathetic to them. You don't want to get to that point. But if you don't guard your heart, that can happen. And that is a scary feeling. And I have been there. And it was definitely scary for me because I've always been an emotional and compassionate person. There was a point in my time where I was none of those things and just didn't care.
Yeah. And the thing is that it doesn't happen suddenly. Like it's gradual over
Mm-hmm.
a period of
Mm-hmm.
time. And eventually you're like, who have I become? I can't recognize the person I
Mm-hmm.
have become.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's a scary thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, guard your heart with your diligence, for out of it proceeds the course of life. Out of it proceeds the course of life.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you so much for sharing this quote, Anna.
Yeah. No problem.
Yeah. I'm really glad. Every time I have a guest share a quote, it's, it opens, it kind of gives me perspective to see things differently, especially when they
Mm-hmm.
then go on to tell their stories. And yeah.
Yeah, it's always good to hear different quotes. I have a group for the podcast that I do. It's called the Honest Christian Community, and it's for believers to join. And one of the days, because every weekday I have a set post that'll come out and it'll say either share your favorite Bible verse, share your favorite podcast episode, a sermon you've listened to, or whatever. And one of the days is Encouragement Thursday. And that's a day where people can just put encouragement quotes or Bible verses or whatever they're thinking that, maybe God's been telling them on their heart or something. And I love reading what people write. It's an encouragement and people need that. And especially on their dark days, they need to be encouraged and, told that they matter. They need to know that there's more to life than just going to your job or going to school, and there's deeper things that we can do with our lives. And yeah, I just love sharing different quotes.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. Guard your
Hmm.
heart with all diligence, for out of it proceeds the course of out
Yep.
of it proceeds the course of life. And when I watched it, as much, I used to think, oh, it was a movie, it's interesting. And now I'm looking like, as much as that stuff looked like sci-fi, it's actually what's happening in life. People,
Hmm.
media, they want to like, so how do we influence these people to do this kind of thing? And guess what?
Yeah.
They start making different stuff on the media. And before you know, you start doing these things, you start buying stuff and doing those things. And you yourself, you're wondering like, what's going on? You
Yeah.
don't know there is a master puppeteer that's influencing the
Yeah. Yeah, it's
It's
interesting. I haven't seen that movie in so long. I might have to watch it again because when you were
yeah,
explaining
please
it,
do.
I was
Yeah,
definitely thinking this sounds a lot like what's going on right now with media, social media. Everyone's trying to incept their different ideas and thoughts into your brain. They're trying to get you to want to do things, and that's another reason why you got to guard your heart because there's some things you don't need to be a part of. There's some things you don't need to do. There's some things you don't need to buy in it or watch. It's okay. And yeah, but everyone's trying to put their stuff in your face because they want you to do what they want you to do. And you have to be able to guard yourself and focus on what you actually need to be doing. So yeah, I will probably watch that again because I know my husband likes the movie and he's surprised because I didn't like it when I first saw it, but again, it was so long ago I don't remember
yeah,
it. But now I've grown, I'm older, I'm wiser. Not really wiser, but but I have grown and I'm probably more in a place where I could appreciate it more. So I'll definitely have to find it and watch it again.
yeah, yeah. Like yeah, like, when I first watched the movie, it was just an interesting sci-fi movie. It was that and all that. Then later on, later on after I saw a review on the book and sorry, the storyline, and went back. And now I started seeing everything, like how people would plant ideas in the mind of people, how sometimes it's hard to get an idea there. But once, you're able to play the idea, it can ruin people's life. It can make them really great. Like
Mhm.
most of the things we do now, right? It's
Yeah.
because someone planted an idea, good
Yep.
or bad, right? The career choices, like, yeah, I want to be an engineer. Why do you I like this is so best an engineer. And then you see people, I want to be a gangster. Why do you want to be a
Yeah.
gangster?
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Right?
That it's interesting how that works. Our minds are ripe for anybody to plant a seed of something, and we have to be careful with what we allow to grow.
Yeah, yeah. It's not even the question of like we like I like the word that you add that the Bible added. It's a God heart
Hmm.
diligently.
Yeah.
Emphasis because it's not just they're like how do we make this sentence sweet? No, it's more like the word has to be there. It's very important. Like you have to. It's not a what do you call it, an easy business. It's serious
Hmm.
work. Like
Yeah.
God, there's drama on social media. I don't care. I'm not interested. Two persons are fighting and gossiping, and this stuff is going viral. I don't care. I'm not interested.
Yeah.
Right? It's something you keep doing every time. You have to like keep reminding yourself, like, am I supposed to be watching this? Am I supposed to be viewing this? Am I supposed to be looking at this? Am I
Yeah.
supposed to be even considering this? Right? Because
Yeah.
the mind controls everything. When they say somebody is happy, somebody a good husband,
Hmm.
right? If the man is frustrated and tired of life, which is in what happens, everybody,
Yeah.
the
Yep.
wife,
Yep.
the kids, everybody. Now you're wondering, you say,
Yep.
why is that like this? He hated me.
Yep. Yeah,
The mind, the mind.
it's interesting how everything works. And yeah,
Yeah,
your choices affect other people, so that's another reason why you gotta stay diligently, constantly on the alert, focusing on what is necessary and what is important, whether you want to or not.
yeah, yeah. It's still the same thing on guiding the heart. Like, um, if for a venture someone infiltrates the government and then for some reason they start giving, right?
Hmm.
And the thing about the mind is usually you cannot see what's going on in the mind. That's it usually. Like every time you can't see what's going on in the mind, like from to an outside perspective, you can't, right? And guess what? You launch the nuclear missiles, missiles, and then you're like,
Yep.
oh, the president said we should launch the missile, and then they launch it, not knowing that it's even the president. Like probably the president has it's at gunpoint, and like you have to launch it or your family and everything, and things they start war that's not supposed to start. Economies crash,
Yeah.
and here you are, you're looking without even knowing that something has happened to the member. You're like, oh, what's going on? How could the president do that? The president is so wicked. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, no problem. Thank you.
yeah. I'm really glad that I got to have a session. I think yeah, this is the second time we're talking, and it feels like the your background, your sets and all that. Like it's just the moment I just saw it, I was like, yeah, I remember. Yeah, I remember. Yeah, I don't know. It's easier for me to remember faces than
Yeah.
remember names or stuff like that. But the names and faces, once I remember the face, and then you just say
Mhm.
one thing. I mean, the one you just mentioned, oh, honest. I was like, yeah, I spoke to her on honest basic conversation.
Yep.
And I remember
Yep.
everything we talked about on podcast. Yeah. Thank you so
Nice.
much.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you for having me again.
Yeah, for people who would love to learn more about you and what you do.
They can go to honestchristianconversations.com. That is the website for the podcast. Everything's on there, an about me page, all the episodes I've done, my books that I've written. If you want to contact me for anything, it's all there.
Yeah. Once again, thank you so much for being an amazing guest.
Thank you for having me.
You've been listening to Relatable Wisdom, and I've been your host, Wisdom Okonkwo. You've been listening to the podcast where every story, quote, and insight helps you see life a little differently. If you enjoyed today's episode, follow the show on your favorite podcast app and share it with someone who loved the conversation. For more inspiring voices and timeless wisdom, visit relatablewisdom.com. Until next time, keep living, learning, and collecting wisdom that matters most to you.